Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. That was just the lifeline of Chen going off there. A little bit of a flashback to when he got wrecked right at the start of the game. And I've got to tell you guys that if you hear the fireworks in the background, well, they're going to be going off continuously tonight. So, yeah, it's not World War III, like I did mention, but you're going to hear them more prominently than in yesterday's game session when I did chapters 1 and 2. This is chapter 3 of my Dead Space Remake. Impossible difficulty commentary walkthrough, and yeah, they're going off big time tonight. It's sort of rugby club close to me. The week after bonfire night, they usually just set shitloads off. It's tradition, so you will hear them in the background. Some are louder than others, but it shouldn't be too off-putting, ladies and gentlemen. Might just set the tone for the chaos and mayhem of this game during the firefights. But yes, this is different than the original Chapter 3. Back in 2008, the original game, ladies and gentlemen. I can't exactly remember. Yeah, you go to that engine room where we will be going, but you just get there a different way. Using the tracks here. We're coming back in this location in Chapter 11. And this is just a bit of a showpiece of the game, 0G. An absolutely humongous area. Some loot boxes here. When we go into the no oxygen zone, there will be a few enemies as well. But like I say, it's just a bit of a showpiece, I think, this. The devs just showing off how nice the game looks. And it's a little bit kind of overwhelming, I would say, on my first playthrough this part. I think it might be for a lot of players. I did end up dying here. This is my first death. I ran out of oxygen. My own fault, really. Holy shit, those fireworks are going crazy there. But yeah, as you can see, by the length of the video, strap yourselves in, motherfuckers. 47 minutes on this one. And we've got, I think, the centrifuge. I always get mixed up between chapters 3 and 4 and the original game and this game for some reason. I think we've got the centrifuge. We are going to pick up the flamethrower, which, like I said, in chapters 1 and 2, the beginning of this walkthrough, the flamethrower has been redeemed. It is now an incredible weapon. Love to use it. And one of the things that's good about the flamethrower is, you know, quite a lot of the weapons in Dead Space, when you kill the necromorphs, the claws will, you know, for example, the force gun, it'll send the claws flying. You might not be able to find them, but if you kill an enemy with the flamethrower, all the claws are still intact. Makes it easy to TK enemies after you've killed them with a flamethrower. To kill another enemy, I should say. But here we go. Now we're in the vacuum, and there's a rig here. The first of the game, I think, of the many that we need to find, like 6, 7, or 8. There it is, and you're going to get attacked here by a leaper. I'm just peppering him with a pulse rifle. I'm not going to be using that for too much longer in the game. One of these lurkers may well get me, but I shot on him straight away. Get fucked, pal. I got my can of Coca-Cola here. I don't know if you can hear it fizzing, ladies and gentlemen. I think you can, actually. Every time I do that exaggerated noise, I always think of Fallout. Guess it's easy to do. But yes, we've got 2 lurkers, and that explosion tends not to kill them. I should have landed here. Don't do what I'm doing. If you can help it, you don't want to be fighting while you're flying about. As long as you're staying on the move like I am, you should avoid taking damage. Although, as you could just see, a bit of pause rage. You've watched any of my content before. Similar to this, ladies and gentlemen, you know all about the pause rage. But was kind of my fault. 0G, obviously, you can't hear them. And that's not really the game's fault. That's just the way that it would be, I suppose. Makes it a bit more spooky when you're in combat and you don't hear the enemies. I'm unhappy at the oxygen recharge. I don't know why. I can't hazard a guess why I'm unhappy there. I don't remember. But yeah, this was a bit daunting as well, going down here on your first playthrough, because it's not in the original game and you're running out of air. this is one of the main pieces of music throughout this game, this soundtrack that's playing now. This was a fresh piece that wasn't in the original trilogy, and I like it. Phew, okay. We've got a #1 door. Oh, hey up. I don't know if that's a random spawn, I can't remember. Oh, look at this. Goodness me. Oh, look at that dodge. But look at the time to kill, ladies and gentlemen. Look how many shots this guy's taking. Insane. Anyone out there think the enemies aren't tanky in this game? Like I said at the start of this Let's Play, this walkthrough. Oh. I think I get damaged here. Look at that, no physics there though. Like, there should be... Yeah, damaged again because he should be falling over. They fall over in the original games when you launch a box like that, a heavy box of them, but nope. He didn't even flinch. We take damage again. Pretty disgraceful for a walkthrough. I think you'll agree. Not good. But that first encounter there, a lurker behind the actual slasher, that's tough because they're not going to go down quickly. Stasis the lurker in the back, I think, and then use the grenade launcher, but still got damaged. Pretty poor.
Engineering log. Acting chief engineer.
Okay, this is like a hub area, this. Many, many different locations we eventually go from this room. And I think that Hammond should have spoke to us there, but he didn't. Like I said in chapters 1 and 2, there is a way that you can interrupt dialogue in this game by using the previous logs that you've received in your inventory. You don't usually check to see them because you don't need to listen to them again, but I've seen K-Hunk, and I remember Jigsaw Killer when he speedrun this game. They were doing it, but I've not watched closely enough to know how to do it, but I would like to find out because... Oh, no, never mind. It is going to happen. Hammond's going to talk to me now. Because all this standby bullshit is so frustrating. Look. Want to use my store? Can't. Want to get through another door? I can't because I'm in dialogue. Wasn't like that in the original game. Fucking dumb.
Can you handle it alone? Sure. Fix the centrifuge. Do a full restart. But you'll need to stabilize your orbit from there. Standing by. Fast as you can, Isaac.
Those are particularly loud ones, aren't they, ladies and gentlemen? You didn't come here for the fireworks, but I hope you're staying for them. Alright, I've got to get the engines back online. Here's the Ripper. And like I did say in chapters 1 and 2, you don't actually need to pick the weapons up. I don't know if you leave the weapons where they are, whether they'll appear later on. They're all in specific areas where you would expect to see them. That guy's either just taken his own head off or someone's taken his head off with a Ripper, and thus it's there. The flamethrower is where all the growth is. The woman at the start of chapter 2's got a pulse rifle. Holy shit, those are loud. Louder than I thought they'd be. Fucking Jesus. Making fucking house rock, you dickheads. Damn. So as I can see here, we've got this dialogue with Nicole and this employee of the Ishimura who got Shrektified. You can just leave the room, and as you can see now, or you'll find out in a second, it will update your rig. You don't have to listen to the dialogue, thankfully. Anyway, let's see what we're doing here with the upgrades. If you're into the suit. Now that scared the shit out of me. You hear that? That's not an enemy. That's Nicole. Look, I'm thinking, what the fuck was that? It's that stupid scene that's going on in that room. I'm still checking it out, and I'm like, yeah, it's that. Okay. And I deal some extra damage. That scared me. As it would. So what have we got here? Capacity, was that damage? I'm so far away from my screen, guys, I can barely tell. Just laying back on the bed. Laptop screen's quite far away from me. I just can't be fucking arsed anymore. I'll be honest with you. So there's a level 2 door. Like I said before, I wish with your locator you could somehow be transported to the rooms like it'd show you, because it's very easy to get lost on the Ishimura in the remake, in my opinion. Bit of Ripper action for all you Ripper lovers. Won't be seeing much of it, of course, but there we go. That's where the Ripper does work pretty well. But before we go across, we've got to put the power on this side, I think. We've got these, not exactly spikes, but these poles, they can be used for TK. The splashback damage from explosion in this game is quite vulgar, so just be wary when you use the red explosives. That guy still took a shot to be killed after the explosion. That guy's just been shot on. I think I just stood on an extinguisher or something there. Just accidentally took a little bit of damage. Not keen on that. Shouldn't really be a thing in the game. But it is. What can we do? Now we've got the gondola. I think there's a bit more sloppy gameplay coming up. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the best walkthrough you'll see of this game. I'm much better at the original games. Well, 1 and 2. Of course, I played them a lot more, but I think I'll always be better at them, to be honest. I do like this game a lot, but there's just something I can't put my finger on. I think the enemies being way too tanky is an issue. Not knowing where the enemies spawn from, because of the fact that the enemies are nowhere near as loud as they were in the original game, which is a shame. And I think the enemies move better in the first 2 Dead Space games. I think they're more intimidating. I just prefer the design and the way that they walk as well. That was pretty good gameplay though. I think the bad gameplay is after this. Oh no. Yeah. I'm in trouble here. Between a rock and a hard place. Necros to the left of me. Necros to the right. Stuck in the middle with Necros. Not bad. Nearly got myself in trouble there, but we got out of a tight spot. Some good use of stasis. And now we're going to return to the mechanic where we've either got to choose life support or light. And for some reason, even though I know I'll have enough time, I always go for to keep the light, or turn the lights. Wait a minute. Yeah, turn the lights off, but keep life support on. When really, I should probably do it the other way around, but I don't. Probably just what I'm used to. But I've already said it's quite vulgar how dark this game gets. Like in an area we're in now, it's okay. But in many areas in this game, it's darker, and Christ almighty, I can't see where I'm going. The first game, if you look at it, it's got a lot of areas which are relatively light, and it doesn't ruin the atmosphere of tension.
Glad to disappoint. I barricaded myself in the computer core. I can hear them, but I don't think they know I'm here. Isaac, I tracked down your rig. You're in engineering, right? I'll get myself admin privileges. Maybe I can help.
Guts are gurgling again, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologise. I always forget to turn the power on here. I've turned the lights off, but I've got to reroute the power. I always forget. Yeah, I had a pizza for my tea today. Like a spicy beef one. With some peppers as well. Oh my days, what the fuck is that? I want to blame the game, but honestly, I can't. I don't know what I'm doing there. Don't do that. Why would you? I have no idea why I've just taken damage there. That's my fault. And if you've watched my content before, when I do these kinds of... Oh, that was a nice shot. When I do these kinds of walkthroughs, I don't always blame myself. I usually blame the game, but... Nah, no bullshit. That was my fault. I'm a freaking moron. Get shot on. Get rippered. Nice dodge. Oh my lord. I never feel quite in control of my aiming as I wish I did, and I can't put my finger on it. I think the movement between, like, if you aim your gun and you move left or right, up or down, the movement between the aiming is too much. The amount of space in between where you are aiming, it seems too inaccurate. I can't put my finger on it. People have spoken about it already, certainly more articulate than I just have, but it just doesn't feel quite right. It's still serviceable and fun, but I feel like could and should have been better. And I miss the way that the game, well, the plasma cutter is aimed, especially, you know, with one hand. I think it was only like that in the first game, to be fair, not even 2 or 3, but that's a shame, because that badass one-hand aiming of the plasma cutter in the first game is so good. Here we go, this is a tricky moment. Mr. Leaper. I think he's accompanied by some crawlers, isn't he, in the original? Stomach, stop grumbling, please, come on. And it's kind of tough here to stop this infector from doing his damage. And indeed, let's turn this guy into enhanced necro. But it's not so bad. One use of the grenade on the pulse rifle. A few plasma bullets and he's shot on. I don't know where the infector is. I'm trying to look for him there. That's what I'm doing. I'm like, yeah, can't see him. So, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of downtime in regards to talking about the remake here. If you're, oh my god, I was going to say a fan of the channel then. That is pretty cringe. No, if you've watched my content before, if you know the kind of shit that I upload, I've just managed to purchase and get my hands on Walker's limited edition Christmas pudding crisps. They're taking the country by storm. Not really, but a few people have said they're a crime against humanity, so I've got to see what they're like. Something that I've always done on the channel, doing these silly crisp reviews, and yeah. First week of December, you'll probably see that up on the channel. There's something new I'm bringing to the channel this year, ladies and gentlemen. And something that I'll be doing once a year now, kind of like my Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to the subscribers video in late December. I'm going to be having a look at my Spotify playlist. I'll be sharing it with you guys as well if you want to listen to the shit I've been listening to this year. Always a big fan of sharing music and talking about it, and I'll be looking at it as well and just talking about new artists that I found this year, old favourites, and yeah, just I like the Spotify lists at the end of the year. You know, what's it called? Spotify Wrapped. I really enjoy that they do that. It reminds me of Last FM. I used to love that website, and it's shit now because of some corporate arseholes fighting the man. But yeah, no, seriously though, it is, and yeah, it's cool. By the way, the box there that was next to the bench in that room, they're the ones you can only unlock when you've got the master key. I think it's for certain weapon upgrades, and I can't remember what they are, but I unlock them all. There's one or two of the doors that I don't use, because I can't navigate the way in the ship properly, because it's kind of confusing, like I said before. And the map, well, it's very faithful to the original, because the map is a little bit awkward to use. You know, playing Alan Wake 2 just within the last 2 or 3 weeks made me really appreciate how good the map is in the Resident Evil 2 remake. The old Silent Hill games, the maps were good, but my god, the Alan Wake 2 map, it was very easy to get lost. Quite perplexing, really, but I think it's just about level design. Not just, is it a good map, is the level design good? I can't say that Dead Space, original or remakes, game and level design is bad. But there's a lot of different flaws in this game. Like, you check engineering, there's like 7 floors to it. It's a lot. But anyway, it's a decontamination room, and unlike the original Dead Space, where I can tell you exactly where the enemies are going to spawn, I can't here. So, got to bear that in mind. That's why the gameplay isn't as good, because I still don't have these patterns in my head of the spawns and whatnot. I think we do get a lurker in here, unlike in the original game, and I don't know where he is. This is it. Look, I can't see anything, game. So fuck accuracy, I'm just going to hit him with stasis and pepper the shit out of him. Still takes an absolute ton of ammo to kill. Reload. Do the same with this one. Time is of the essence, I can't be arsed waiting. And I know there's 1 or 2 more spawns. See what they are. Normal slasher. And look at that. The grenade didn't go off. Well, that's because it isn't a grenade launcher. It's a prox. It's a proximity mine. But I don't think I can actually find that. We'll find out in a minute. But I think that actually just went missing. Which is obviously not what it's supposed to do. It didn't go off. There's a leaper. Easily dispatched. Look, I'm looking for it and it's not there. Oh, it is there. Okay. Fair enough, it didn't go off. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I started this project, one of the things that I was really, really worried about in terms of a permadeath difficulty playthrough is the drag tentacle parts. 3 of them all together, of course. 1 coming up in chapter 3, 1 in chapter 6, and then the last one at the end of chapter 10. And they all progressively get harder. The enemies, everything is more tanky in this game than the original. And the first one, it's a piece of piss. Just upgrade your plasma cutter. I would say use your plasma cutter against them. Also, you could use the contact beam, whether it's the alt fire, or because it's just so powerful, or the primary fire just keeps spraying that motherfucker with a laser. Those are the weapons I'd say to use. Obviously the pulse rifle's very fast, but it's not so damaging by default, and in my experience, unfortunately, although I do quite like the pulse rifle in this game, it's not so useful against the drag tentacle. And the second and the third ones, though, you can run it close. You don't get as much time before you get killed, especially with the last one. And the last one, the camera angle that they give you to shoot, the angle that you're at, is really awkward, and I was really worried. Thankfully we do it, we don't die, but yeah, I guess we'll talk about that when we get there. But here it is, the good old centrifuge. This is a room that sometimes annoys me in the remake because of the fact that I don't exactly know where the enemies spawn from, unlike the original. And because everything is quieter in this game as well, I can't quite hear where they're coming from. So I might get damaged, I might get a little bit salty. Let's find out, but obviously we've got to use the stasis. Oh, hey up, the spawn's happening and I'm running off. Because I don't know where the leaper is. So I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to lock myself in here and see if he'll come to me. And does he? He does, okay. Yeah, decent tactic, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing wrong with that. We know we've got a stasis recharge in this room. So let's allow things to get a little cheesy. You know what I'm saying? Also, and I've seen this online, people agree with me, when you take off and fly in the air in 0G, the grav boots sound like a lurker's scream. They sound very similar. Well, listen. Let's see if we're going to land here. Well, they just sound like it when you're thrusting as well, when you're boosting, to be honest. But listen. There's kind of like a high-pitched squeal kind of thing going on, and yeah, it's reminiscent of the lurkers. I'm sure other people will have thought that who've played this game. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think they did that on purpose. Pretty cheeky, really. Just making sure to get the loot in this room. It's quite a big room, of course, and surprisingly easy to miss shit here. Just getting that explosive. And he has spawned, and as you can see, he gave 0 fucks about that. But we got him. Second time round. The centrifuge area here is another area where the game goes into a little cutscene where there wasn't one in the original. That's a shame. And it actually gives you less time, because I think by default you get 80 seconds of oxygen. But Isaac spends about 10-15 seconds looking at the centrifuge, and it takes that oxygen off you that you should have. Okay, so I'm going back for some more stasis. It's a long video, but when you're narrating, time goes fast because I'm just not thinking of time. I'm concentrating, having fun. It's just how quick time can go when you're playing a fun game, man. It's crazy, isn't it? You know, if you've got all day to play a video game, for which I never do, but let's say you had 8 hours to just play a game and just not worry about anything else, that time would go so fast. But if you're spending it doing some boring shit, my lord, it feels a lot longer than 8 hours. Oh, there's a stasis, well, an oxygen recharge there, so I guess it doesn't matter. But here we go. Nothing to be worried about here, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of dying. I think in the original game, it's coming from the other angle. We're going the opposite way, if you will, here. So, I'm taking my time. Oh, there's a necro there. You can stasis this guy. What do I do? Oh, I pepper him. Keep him in place. I've had him sprint to me, though, so if he does start to sprint at you, maybe stasis him if you want him to be killed by the centrifuge. This guy's getting very close here. Let's cut him down to size. Oh, that's awkward. Minimal space to work in. I've got a full inventory, by the way. Guess that should be a good thing, but we're leaving shit behind. I don't like that. Okay, centrifuge goes past. Make sure it's gone past properly. Don't take a risk, ladies and gentlemen. There's no point. If you watch this Let's Play, you'll have seen that, and I guess you have, there is what's it called, an oxygen tank in here for some more air. So if you've got that in your inventory, you can always use that too. That's something, isn't it? I think in the original game, am I making this up? Were there like oxygen tanks small and medium and large? Or was it just small and medium? I think that's a thing only in the first game. Now that jump cut is because I can only record for 30 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not covering up a death or anything. It's 30 minutes of gameplay and then I end the video. even if it's the same chapter. I mentioned in chapter 2 why I did that. So my game and my video doesn't crash. Because the Elgato software that I use is shit. But a lot of hits in there. And as you can see, he's taking some mighty damage. That's a lot of plasma energy. What's that? Nearly 20 bullets, perhaps? Maybe-ish? Regardless, it's a lot. And I think I've got this thing upgraded as far as I can so far. Imagine if it's not upgraded. But that one is pretty easy. It's the second and third drag tentacle parts which are harder. Cut this guy down to size. And there we go, yet again. When they're on the floor already, nice and easy. That's when I like to use the Ripper. But there you go. And I wanted to show you guys that when I was playing this, I thought, you know what? As an example, I'm going to use the Ripper alt fire. And look, I just took fucking damage. Like, the enemy's right in front of me. Does it want me to be on an angle to avoid being hit by my own blade? Nah, no thank you. Not a huge fan of that alt fire. It's kind of like what they did with the contact beam. They gave it a con. They gave it something that counteracts its quality. It doesn't really bother me with the contact beam. I think it's worth it, but I don't with the Ripper. And I'm just not a huge Ripper fan. The best Rippers in Dead Space 2, in my opinion. But the inventory here is looking good in terms of stasis and health. Although we've got slightly less ammo. Oh, the actual engine room itself is indeed coming up, isn't it? One of my favourite rooms in the original game. It's cool in this game as well. I'm going to be getting the flamethrower now. I'm just having a look at the audio in my Mverve movie editor. We're coming up to that ultra loud room, aren't we? You remember the one? I'm sure you do. Talk about it in a moment. Open that fucking door, Clark. He's going mad, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Hammond. I cracked the secure files. DC was here for more than just the mining claim, huh?
What do you mean?
This outbreak started on the colony after the miners...
So, usually there tends to be loot here in this room.
But it would explain why Aegis 7
Sometimes in these bigger rooms where you're in 0G, it can be hard to find loot. But I genuinely just couldn't find the loot at all. So maybe it's like RNG that there's loot here, or maybe it just disappeared in the game world somewhere. Not sure. Because I couldn't find it, and I know it's usually there. And I know there's a spawn here, and I'm wondering why it's not coming on. Or the enemy's not showing up, I should say, sorry. And it's because I've not done what I had to do. Oh, what am I talking about? The loot's there. Then again, I think there's more than one piece usually, a loot. We just got some plasma energy. There we have it. So just last week, ladies and gentlemen, my internet went down for one full day. Checked online with my data on my phone, what the fuck's going on. And it was like, oh, there's an issue, we've got an engineer out. But yada yada yada. They gave me an arbitrary kind of time it'd be fixed. Ended up being a bit after that time. But since then, my upload speed has been shit. Here's the load room! Because I've been getting 20 meg upload speeds for a while now. Which is what I should get. And since it went down, every day I check my internet speed. If you pay a lot of money for yours, you should too, ladies and gentlemen. And I've been getting between 10 and 15 meg, and it's like, no, that will not do. I need 20. Especially when you're uploading videos that are over 6 gig. Shit. But I just flushed the old router, you know, I did a reset. we're back up to 20 now, so that shit ever happens to you. It's worth bearing in mind, just do a reset. Sometimes it actually does work. Surprise, motherfucker! You know, the good old technology, have you turned it off and on again, sometimes actually works. Can you believe it? But there we have it, the flamethrower. The thing that makes me happy about this game. I really like the flamethrower. I do like the force gun. I'm a huge fan of the force gun in Dead Space 1, 2, and, well, even 3. Although it's different in 3, you just need it to knock the enemies down. Because there's so many of them. And nothing else really knocks the enemies down very easily in that game. I like how it just sometimes strips all the flesh off in one blast. It's obviously pretty weak by default. There's a level 3 door. But put a few upgrades, a few nodes into it, and it's very serviceable. The alt fire of the force gun this time around, ladies and gentlemen, is a gravity well. And it forces all the enemies within the well to kind of just... I don't know how to explain it, that they're unable to attack or hurt you for a small period of time. And then you can go apeshit. Once, let's say you've got 4 enemies in a gravity well, I'd say use the firewall, the flamethrower, or the grenade launcher, or the grenade explosive on your pulse rifle, and just juggle them with all that damage. That's a good way to sort them out as we sort out these crawlers. There's something else I want to tell you as well. This might not be the best walkthrough of Dead Space Remake on the internet, ladies and gentlemen, far from it, but I will tell you something. I can give you little interesting bits of information which are definitely true. And one of them is that the contact beam and the flamethrower, if you have a look, both there and throughout this playthrough, have a look at the amount of ammo that you use. The ammunition depletes much slower in this game with both weapons than it does in the trilogy. Well, of course, with the original contact beam, the new primary fire isn't in those old games. I love the laser beam, though. It's weaker than the alt fire, but it's still good. But the flamethrower, it depletes the ammo so much slower. So sometimes you'll feel like you're really wasting ammo. But if you count your ammo and look at it, you're actually not losing that much. I'm guessing that was a thing that the devs wanted to put in the game. You know, just make it deplete slower to make it better. I think it was a purposeful thing is what I'm trying to say here. You know, everyone who's a hardcore Dead Space fan went into this thinking, yeah, the flamethrower is probably going to be shit. Of course, I was always going to trial out different weapons and see, but it was a nice surprise. Get rid of some of the Ripper ammo here. We won't be using the Ripper for too much longer, just throwing in some Ripper blades. Yeah, when we get the contact beam, that's when we'll put the Ripper away. And then when we get the force gun, we'll put the pulse... Sorry, we'll put the... Yeah, pulse rifle away. We're getting towards the end of Chapter 3 now. Chapter 4. We've got the infamous asteroid part. And ladies and gentlemen, get that motherfucking wax out of your ears, because you're going to hear this once. Well, to be honest, you might hear it more than once. You might hear it a few times. But obviously I've played the original game a lot, but I don't think the asteroid part is anywhere near as bad as people say it is. And obviously I'm a console scroll, but that part in the original is a lot easier keyboard mouse. Of course it is. But even on controller, I don't think it's that bad. It's a bit nerve-wracking avoiding the asteroids when you're on your way to the ADS cannon. But I'm probably one of the only few people that thought, yeah, I guess what they added is okay in Chapter 4, but it wasn't bad in the original. We'll speak about that in Chapter 4 when we get there, but taking these guys out with a mixture of weaponry, even using the Ripper alt fire. Now, as we can see, the pregnants have entered the proceedings, and gotta say, they are much faster in this game. Possibly a little too fast. I will split open the pregnants quite a few times in this playthrough, and if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you do, but if you shoot them in the stomach area, they will spawn the crawlers. Some in the really late game, for some reason, spew out lurkers as well. Either way, it's freaking annoying, and you don't want to do that, but it's kind of hard to avoid sometimes here in this game because pregnants themselves move a lot faster. But we're just setting up our stasis and explosive canisters here. It's all, of course, going to kick off.
Warning. Engine power failure. Replace power cell to begin ignition sequence.
But although I'm setting all these things up, I don't exactly know where and when the enemies spawn from. So just giving myself the best chance I can. Popping loads of things down. Slightly more explosive canisters and stasis. Can't remember how this room goes. We might be take damage once. One of the trickier rooms in the game, of course. Shut up, computer. Here we go. See what happens. That guy's just been blasted with some TK. He's been hit with an explosive, but he's not dead. Come on. Oh, shit. Oh, that was good. Okay. Avoided their attacks pretty well. And we've got another explosive to go. He's getting one. I think I took a bit of splash damage. That splash damage is really vulgar, man. I'm wanting a second enemy to turn up. Oh, and there's a leaper. Explosive. Nice. Oh. And I bring you fire. Of course, needless to say, the flamethrower, ladies and gentlemen, does damage over time as well. So whilst they're on fire, you know, you can run off. An enemy is on fire, they might just die because of the fire itself while you're not actually hitting them, you're shooting them. So that's something to bear in mind. Another good reason to love the flamethrower in this game. Of course, that's always been the case in the other games, but it's just so much more powerful here. But overall, happy with how that engine room went. Start of chapter 4, we're going to get the level 3 suit. We're going to face our first brute. Rhyming again? Why do I always end up rhyming? Ladies and gentlemen, I was born to rhyme. I was born to rhyme, what can I say? Fireworks have stopped, by the way. It's nearly 9 PM here, Saturday night. The 11th of the 11th, 2023. Wow, okay, according to Windows, it's 1 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's freaking cold. It doesn't feel that cold. The heating is on for another hour till 10, but yeah, doesn't feel that cold. But these days, I don't think January is the coldest month, to be honest. I think that's February. I think it does tend to be later in the year now. When I was a kid, it was always like December, January. Now it seems to be, at least for me, February and even March. Frame rate. Shit in the bed a little bit here. There's a lot going off in the engine room. But chapter 3, sorry, chapter 4, shorter than this chapter. And then chapter 5, just like in the original game, Mercer is going to enter proceedings.
You're flying us through the planet.
And it's a shorter chapter, but it's a trickier chapter to be sure. And I don't like what they did with Mercer's character in this game. I don't like what they did with Kyne's character either. We'll speak about that when we get there.
Daniels, give me all the data you have. I'll try to adjust course. Isaac,
I think that's a random spawn. I think.
bridge station. Meet me there. We need to work on the
Good work. Shitting on the pregnant.
Nicole? I'm here. Nicole!
Oh. There's another random spawn. And you can just tell that I'm more unsettled by the random spawns. I really love them, you know? I really love them. And if I think of my favourite games that are similar to Dead Space, if they had random spawns in them, it would make them so much more replayable, so much more fun. I'd absolutely adore it. I understand that sometimes it might not be possible, and it might... Maybe devs are worried about breaking the game or something along those lines, but... You know, like with the original Resi 4, a lot of people have been playing these versions of the game where it's like Nightmare version. There's shitloads of enemies. So someone obviously can, like, get into the game's files and force it to be like that. Maybe because it's a much older game. But I'd love that kind of shit. One of my favourite kind of linear survival action stealth horror games. Hey up, there's another random spawn. Sometimes it happens quite frequently in a short space of time, ladies and gentlemen. But they're always going to catch you off guard because you know they're not the usual spawns. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See you in Chapter 4.